but everything goes in circles, so probably time again.
Yeah, I've read the Snorre saga, and it's quite some time since it's been updated. It needs a new chapter, and I was gonna say I'm a protagonist, but I mean I'm a what's it?
Procrastinator.
Not narcissist. That's the word. I would like to see
Oh,
my
yeah.
name in a chapter there. So yeah, antagonist, was that the word? Yeah, that got a better ring to it, I think.
You went past the lowlands to the land of the. What are the French called in olden terms?
Wankus.
I was thinking of something a little bit more historical, but no, wankers will do. We
Low,
went to the land of wankers, and lo, I did discover they were wankers.
sometimes it's good to go somewhere to just get your preconceptions confirmed, and then go back home again.
Back to the warm embrace of the motherland,
Yeah.
or the slightly colder embrace of the motherland.
There is nothing that make you appreciate home more than going to France.
We apologise to any French listeners.
No, we don't.
don't
That being said,
apologise.
I'm not going to be negative. We had a fantastic week in France. France is a little bit like the city Bergen in Norway. It's a fantastic place if it weren't for all the Burgundies. And that's the same with France. Brilliant place if it wasn't for all the French. That being said, though, I met, I would say, 3 great French people. Although I'm not sure if they're really great or just normal people, but in
Really French.
in comparison to the rest of the Frenchmen, they just seem that good in comparison. I'm not sure. The jury is out on that one.
You're all right. You're not as French as the other ones.
That's a really good. For a minute there, I didn't think you were French. Like, oh, it's the highest compliment you can get.
It was the accent that gave it away, wasn't it?
That's the thing. I can't get behind that. They do know how to speak English, but they don't want to because of history.
Mm-hmm.
But once they do speak English, they speak with such a French accent that, I mean, just speak French for God's sake. I don't understand this anyway because of the accent. Because you're mumbling in such a way that this is incoherent. There's no, and that's a bold statement coming from a Norwegian that also has accents when they speak English. So talking down on the French, it's
Yeah, but yours make you sound happy. There's just it's a place of disdain.
yeah.
More or less. And I wonder if that's the old French English relations that's shining through, or if that's the base French.
Yeah. You've got the yoodle oodle doodle thing going on, and then all they've got is buff.
It was a fantastic experience. We landed at Charles de Gaulle, the airport, went directly to the train station, and then found one of these ticket dispensers, the ones where you don't have to talk to people. And then, of course, you get asked 2 questions. Do you want to travel now or later? And of course, we would like to travel now. And in any other part of the world, that means that you then get a ticket and you can go to the first train that arrives. And you have a ticket because it's lasting for like an hour and a half, so it gives you a bit of leeway.
Reasonable.
No, this is the home of bureaucracy. So we went there. You want to travel now? Yes. And then how many are traveling? Fair question. 1, 2. Okay. The age of said travelers, all right, 44, 6. All right. So, and then I want you to put in names, surname, first name, and date of birth. And this is on a touch screen that felt from the 90s. So you press 3 times, nothing happens. And then you press it a bit harder, and then you got 4 letters in a row, and then you have to press backspace 100 times without anything happening, and then everything is gone, and you're back at square one. So then, yes, I would like to travel now, and then how many are traveling? 1, 2, and the age and the name and everything, and then of course this is 2026, so they would like to send you a receipt digitally on your email. Nice. So then you have to, on this 1990s touchscreen, put in your email address, and getting that wrong and finding the alpha. We spent a good 10 minutes getting 2 tickets. And then we ran over to where the trains are going from. And there's this lady checking all the tickets. And she said, "No, you're too late. The train is going 10:57, and it's now 10:55. Yeah. I thought I knew how time works, and I thought 10:55 is before 10:57.
You're
Yeah,
too
but
late. The train's leaving in the future.
you're too late. So, and then she was angry, and she talked to the security guard next, and like, all right, come back in 40 minutes for the train that goes in an hour. So they wanted me to be 20 minutes early for the next train. And of course, the ticket that I got was for that specific train. It's not like it gives you a leeway of an hour. So I had a ticket for a train that she said I was too late for, although the train hadn't arrived yet. So, okay, we go and spend 40 minutes in the airport, and then we come back. Of course, that lady is now gone. There's another lady there, and I go up to her and, yeah, we have these 2 tickets. The guard and the previous lady here said that we missed our train, but we could come here and we could take this train. And she's like, no. I'm like, all right. I mean, I can go and pay for a new ticket. I'm not going to let this ruin my day. And then, luckily, that the security guard from the first round, he notices us from across the room, so he came running and like, and he brought us down. Not a smile, not a "you're welcome" when we said thank you and have a nice day and whatnot, but yeah, he opened the security gate and let us through. And from that point where that lady said that we were too late and down to where the train would arrive, that's a 20-second walk. So we had eons of time to reach that first train that she said, no, you're too late. So that at this point, I'm just laughing at it. And of course, I have been warned, and we know French people living in Norway, and also my wife has been there before. So like, you just have to realize that this is how the French are and operate, and just don't let it get to you. So I just went into a mental state that I'll let everything pass, and I managed to do so for 4 days. So it was a nice trip. Yeah. But,
yeah, I remember when I frequently, when my parents lived in the south of France, I would fly from Bristol down to Toulouse and then get the train from Toulouse to some very parochial, tiny little village somewhere. And to get from Toulouse Airport to the train station, obviously Toulouse Airport is out of town, train station's in the centre of town, you get the shuttle bus. And I did this trip over the space of 10 years, 3 times a year. And then the last time I went there, and on my way back, everything was perfectly as normal. I went there, and I went to the bus stop at the railway station to go back to the airport. And I went to the bus stop where I'd got on this bus to take me to the airport 3 times a year for the last 10 years. And the bus pulled up, a load of people got off. I went to get on, and the driver just slammed the door shut. What? And then the next bus came along, because this is a shuttle bus. It goes like every 10, 15 minutes. Next bus comes along, and these people get off. I get on, and again, the driver just slams the door shut. What the fuck is going on? Someone said to me, I think they realised I was English, or that they were just testing the water. And said, "Are you trying to get on this bus?" I said, "Yes, I'm trying to get on this bus." "Oh, you can't get on that. Oh, you can't get on the bus here anymore." "What? You have to get on the bus over there." Right. Nowhere is there a sign, even in French, to say you can't get on the bus here. This is only where you get off the bus. You now get on the bus. You just have to know that you now get on the bus over there. Bureaucracy.
Yeah. I've been fascinating, and it's easy to be fascinated by bureaucracy when you don't have to go there. It is a fun coincidence. I'm now halfway through 1984, and going to France. It's like getting a trailer for the movie version. And it is fascinating, though. I mean, I think I read or saw somewhere that if you get a job in any public position in France, you're set for life. You probably have to go berserk with a guillotine or something for them to be able to fire you. So once you get a job in public service or something, you're set for life, and then they don't need to provide service because they are now secure for the rest of their lives. So yeah, it very much felt like that. And then, of course, I also had this. This is not specific to France. I've noticed this in a couple of other countries as well. I thought it was my old phone, which was a bit, well, not up to par at the end. But the cell phone carrier that I'm using in Norway, they have deals with all the other cell phone carriers in Europe, so you pay the same for data. You just switch to roaming, and everything is fine. But once I came down to France, a lot of web pages just did not load, and a lot of apps didn't work. But Google worked perfectly fine. But if you tried clicking on some of the answers to go on a link, no, it said you didn't have internet. But I had, because I just Googled to get this link. And it turns out the phone automatically chooses the best carrier. And I talked to support and whatnot because I could not load the tickets for Disneyland. And that's a bit of a crisis when that's the only thing you're going there for. And just by chance, I turned off choosing a carrier automatically. But then you just got that one choice. But then I got distracted by something. So my phone just laid on a table for 3-4 minutes. And then I came back, and then he had produced a list of carriers. And then I chose another one. And then everything worked perfectly fine. So I don't know anything about how mobile networks work, but I've read up on it in in the aftermath. And yes, some carriers do not work with your carrier. And some of services and some content won't load and some apps won't work. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. But even though in France they have, in 2026 they have digitized everything, but they have still kept the manual way of arranging the systems. So of course, it's still a lot of bureaucracy, and you have to fill in this, and you have to do this, and you have to do it in a particular order and whatnot. But yes, you have to have your phone also now to make it work. And if you don't have a network, then you're extra stuck. So it was a couple of hours there on the day before we were going to Disneyland. All right. I'm probably going to have to go to the service help desk queue of Disney World alongside all of the other with technical issues. So we're probably going to spend half the day there before we even someone can log in and see that, yes, you have some tickets, so you can actually go in. But luckily it sorted itself out. So we had a lovely full day in Disneyland in 33/34 degrees Celsius, blue skies, no shadow, no nothing. It was a day in the sauna. So we had a lot of ice cream and iced tea, but we managed to keep the good spirit through the day, and the 6-year-old loved it. So it was a win.
Good, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that story ended in some kind of positive note as well.
Yeah, it was a great trip. The kid loved it. I got things to rant about, and when I came home and checked my bank account, I didn't spend as much money as I fear I could have, because I had one goal for this travel, that was to just say yes and pay for stuff. That was my role in this for the entire day of Disneyland. But yeah, she was happy, I was happy, and we came back home with a lot of Disney paraphernalia and a lot of stories. So it's all good.
Happy days.
But that being said, though, I haven't been doing any making because of this. So that's up to you to carry this Maker podcast for this episode.
Oh yeah, we're a Maker podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 142 of the Crude But Efficient podcast with the usual people. So you haven't done any making. Phil, have you done any making?
Yes.
Oh,
Tell us.
Yeah. Well, I made a mess in the garage getting my new bench in. The new bench has
the
arrived.
bench.
The new bench is fantastic. The new bench is very heavy. And I'm very much looking forward to planing on it and it not dancing across the room and trying to escape out the front door by racking its way around, because it takes 4 people to lift this thing.
You are not 4 people.
I'm not 4 people, no, but me and 3 other people lifted it. And the 3 other people were guys from the facilities team, who are all very muscular because they spend their day moving very heavy things around. That's their job. Yeah, so this thing weighs a lot. It's very, very well made, and I'm very pleased that I've got it.
And it was the same footprint as the old one?
It's a little bit wider,
but close to at least.
Yeah, it's more. It's exactly the same length. If anything, it's a little bit shorter. It's 1.5 meters long. My old bench was 80 centimeters deep, and I'm pretty sure this is 1 meter deep.
Nice.
And it's like an English joiner's design, so it's got the trough in the middle, the tool trough in the middle.
Yeah.
Which is also good if you want to clamp things up, because you now have an area lower than the surface of the bench in the center where you can put clamps. No, carry on.
Not to poop on your parade, but you mentioned looking forward to planing stuff and it not moving. I just realized that the solution that I very much provided to you to put the polypropylene cutting board underneath for it not to wick moisture, that is basically the same that they make for the gliding surface on skis. So it might very much move.
Put it on skates.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't got there yet. But in the process of doing that, I thought I will start to properly investigate the damp coming in. And it was definitely one of the cases of the more you look, the worse this is getting.
One of those.
It looks like someone has previously had to go at preventing water getting in. And
that's good.
When we moved in, that garage was bone dry. And it has been bone dry for several years. It's only just in the last couple of 3-4 years I've started getting this problem. So whatever that mitigation was, it's starting to fail. And so I went up to the very back of the garage with my sharp, pokey thing and started stabbing at the wall. And yes, what is normally brick and mortar is actually really rather soft and very, very crumbly. And it's got that very distinct whiff of damp cement and damp brick. So I'm just going to slather it all with more tanking slurry, the waterproofing cement epoxy mix, and make it somebody else's problem at some point in the future.
Is it someone upstream from you who have done this, so the water goes one step down and now you do it so it goes one step further and that sort of thing?
Oh, I don't know. But looking at the outside, because I've said before, my garage is basically buried into the side of a hill. Yeah. So the back of the garage is essentially underground. And in the past, it looks like they've applied render to the outside wall and then they've put a load of bitumen down to prevent it. But this was all, I mean, we've been here for 12 years and this all looks like it was done a long time before we got here.
But that's the thing, though. You often get caught up in it. I mean, you're looking at it, and the more you look at it, the worse it gets. And then, somebody did a hodgepodge solution here. But you say it's been dry up until recently, and if you've been living there for 12 years and they've done it before that, that's a reasonable time. So if you do the same and you get another 12 plus year before this becomes a problem, I that is a permanent solution.
Nothing quite as permanent as a temporary solution.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only real problem is because the garage is so full of assorted crap, I'm going to have to find somewhere to put some stuff. I have an offer of a shed, fairly local, but it will mean loading up the car or potentially borrowing a van and ferrying some stuff over there. I'm also pinning my hopes on the top flat in the block is currently empty, and I've got the phone number of the chap who owns it. I was thinking maybe you would be interested in renting me your garage for a couple of weeks.
For a couple of beers.
Yeah.
I was going to say you're moving your workshop into that flat.
No,
that's also
that's the top floor, man. That's a lot of steps.
Yeah, heavy equipment.
Think of the view, man. Think of the view.
Think of the view. Yeah, there's no lift. I don't really want to. I don't want to lump all that gear up 8 flights of stairs. Thank you very much.
No, that's
I mean, if the wall is that crumbly, this is a good place to start digging out of a bunker that's so popular on the interwebs.
Well, even if it's not digging out a bunker, maybe I could just keep going and just expand the workshop through the back wall.
Yeah.
You know.
Just dig it out and build a new wall with proper irrigation and that sort of thing on the other side.
Yeah.
How hard can it be?
It'll be fine. Maybe I'll tap into, because right next to my garage is the
neighbor's garage.
No, well, there is that one way, but the other side there's the substation for all the flats. So maybe
nothing bad could happen with that.
I'm just thinking, maybe I could get my 3-phase.
As much 3-phase as you like.
Yeah, and maybe even more than 5 amp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I've got a 40 amp 3-phase supply straight in. Just a few wires.
Run all my tools at once.
Yeah, exactly. Slap a few Wago connectors in. Be fine.
Bob's your uncle. Yeah, just have Tim from Turgworks over and he'll sort you out.
He did say that he used to have Western Power Distribution keys, so he could pop down and open up, but I don't think he's got those keys anymore.
But I mean, using Wago connectors, that is, then you're interfering with it. But if this is AC, in theory, you can just wind cables around existing cables
Yeah.
and tap off of that, and then you're not tampering with. You're just
Never
coiling
touched it.
wire around. I haven't broken anything. I haven't unscrewed anything. So
3-phase via induction.
yeah, free power. I mean, there is always some loss, but I mean, how much do you need to run your bench planer
Not
that
a lot.
loss is acceptable?
Considering that the garage is a place that you're not supposed to be a long time, I'm guessing that the magnetic field in your workshop is rather high if you have the substation on the other side of the wall.
Mm.
Bring a compass in and see what it does.
I've never thought of that. I will try that. I do have a compass.
Just to put a big coil on the wall, you'll get some voltage at least.
Yeah. Good plan.
It's been. I mean, this isn't specific to Norway, but of course, a lot of landowners, they get either a small fee every year or they sell like 10 square meters of land to the power company because they run power lines over. And of course, someone have thought some smart thoughts is, well, if I just have some cables and some hook and a very long wooden pole, I could just hang some wires onto them and piggyback off of it. It's not the huge power lines, but the smaller ones, and it works nice. I'm guessing there has been some accidents in the past, but
Probably, yes.
yeah. And there was a YouTube channel. I think he had one of those really big lines, and he just on the ground, just how much induction can I pick up just for being on the ground underneath? Is it enough to charge a phone or whatever? And he set up a system and coils and tried to see how much he could pick up. And then, okay, he could produce a small amount of current. And then the question was, am I now stealing from them? I'm not touching anything. I'm just standing here and they're just emitting this anyway, this electromagnetic field. So
I think intent is really important when it comes to the legality of that.
it's just coincidental. I had some coils and rectifiers just happened to be laying around in the field.
I am an induction coil enthusiast, and I happen to be walking past this pylon. And
And all these copper wire just happen to be connected to a battery that I use for, yeah, could work.
Because in the olden days, before cable TV went digital, it was an analog signal, and of course, the cable company they put the analog cable over our plot of land to a distribution hub that went to all the houses. Of course, my parents didn't want to pay for cable because they did not watch much TV. But of course, my dad being a radio engineer, like, if I go out and I just coil a wire around the cable, and then I just bring that wire inside and I just use a signal amplifier. And since it's an analog, not a digital, and then of course scrambled signal, yeah, we could get cable without paying for it. And we did not tap into it, and they already dug the hole in the yard. This is of course very theoretical. It never happened. So, and I think the stature of whatnot, it's yeah. I mean, he's also dead now, so good luck
Yeah, that helps.
finding him. Yeah.
charge me now, bitches. Yeah.
Have that on your headstone. Yeah, we're trying to reach you for your extended warranty.
Resurrect if you want to prosecute.
Yeah.
For anyone confused about what the chopping board solution was, the grand plan was to cut up a polypropylene chopping board and stick them under the feet of my new wooden bench so it doesn't wick water up. But yes, they are quite slidey, aren't they? So, well, would it be though? Because
I mean,
there's a lot of weight on it on a rough concrete floor.
yeah,
It
that's
should be
my
fine.
thing. That if it's a rough concrete floor and they're relatively soft, they would form to the concrete. So I don't think it will be very slidey.
It's
And
more,
this,
it's slidier, but not that slidey.
and ideally,
Probably.
this is a temporary solution. And once I've put several coats of tanking slurry up the wall into every damn crevice, then there won't be any more water coming in. Maybe, perhaps, hopefully.
I've never used this tanking slur that you talk about. I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but is the plan to remove all the soft parts and
Yeah, you've got to
poke at the wall a bit, or
you've got to take all the. It's effectively, if you imagine a plaster.
yeah,
It's a plaster layer, but it's Portland cement and epoxy resin
okay,
as a powder. You mix it with water into a slurry, and depending on how how wet you make it, you can either paint it on with a brush, or you can trowel it on.
okay.
Yeah, so it's just a waterproofing barrier. But yeah, you've got to get all the loose stuff off first and sweep it away, and then
Let's hope that there's some wall left when you're done with that.
should be. Yeah, the wood storage has got to come out. So, what lies behind that? We'll find out, won't we?
It might be some good coming out of it. You might discover more walls you haven't seen in a long time. That's
Well, yeah, and it will be a good excuse to go right through the wood pile and actually go, do I need this 2-inch square bit of plywood? Well, it is really good plywood. Yeah, but it's 2 inches square.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
Put a pin in that plywood, metaphorically, and we'll come back to that
Okay.
rather soon, I think. But yeah, let's get done with the making first.
And the thing that I've actually made but haven't quite finished is a sleeve for my e-reader, my Kobo. So that was a little afternoon sewing project which I did yesterday. It might be a video. I filmed everything. I don't know if I'm in love with the final product yet. So maybe not.
I mean, it's a good thing if you let it grow on you and actually like it, or if you want to do some modification.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. So how about you?
Well,
Been making much?
Kinda-ish. I made a video.
You did?
I can't remember, but it's at least not my worst time between Maker Central and actually publishing the video, so that's good.
No, this was fairly recent, I would say.
Yeah, just like 2 weeks. So I think it's okay. And I'm kind of pleased with the result as well. Going in with no kind of plan, just filming stuff right, left, and center, and hoping to get something out of it. I think I used like maybe half of all the clips I took or something like that. And actually managed to get a voiceover that I was actually okay with it as well.
If you are willing to share the raw files with me, I can do a voiceover and we can release it a day or two before or right after next year's, because I'm pretty sure that 99% of people watching that video, they won't realize that this was the last year.
Yeah, that is probably true.
So they won't realize this was the last year, or they didn't realize this was the last year.
Yes, both of those are really fun because, I mean, imagine if there won't be a Maker Central next year. I wouldn't be surprised, but they still might manage to pull it off. to release, just make compilations of the previous 4 I've been to, the film from that, and just keep making them, and they stop having the show, but I keep making a video of me going there 2 weeks after every year. That would actually be kind of fun.
What most people don't know is there is a portal to a secret world where Maker Central happens every year.
I mean, it basically looks the same. It's the same people. Some people are a bit grayer and bigger or smaller or that sort of thing, but it's mostly the same every year.
Yeah.
It's a weird mix. I mean, I've never been, and oh no, this was the last year, so tragically, I'll never get to go.
But they are proclaiming that there will be one next year, and you can buy tickets already if you want to gamble.
Well, let's just hold off on that for now, shall we?
This is your time to shine, Phil.
Well, it does seem like an odd. From the video that I've seen, and admittedly, I haven't watched a lot of video of Maker Central, but it does seem to be like there's some very, very like craft fair folk. They're like selling shit in bottles. And then there's lots of Star Wars nerds.
Yes.
And then there's lots of general wood shaving shenanigans going on.
Yes.
Yeah. It just seems like a very weird that whole craft fair thing. That seems to sort of jar with everything else. But then all 3 of them sort of jar with each other.
Yeah, lots of things jar with each other. It's very much, and it goes up and down from year to year as well. I mean, 3D printed knickknacks, and I mean, you have booths that make really, really beautiful stuff next to ones that make extremely generic stuff. And some are just show and tell stuff that's rather fun, and some are selling stuff that you wonder why people are buying it, so to say. So
Yeah, because I think
it is a hodgepodge.
Someone there was I can't remember specific now, but I think they were selling knives, and these things were like really, really expensive. You know, like hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So, like, is anyone actually going to buy that here? I wonder if they actually sold any. I don't know.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's an experience.
Yes.
That being said, though, that caters to me because I'm a collector of hobbies. So yes, woodworking, metalworking, and then cosplay and electronics. I mean, you get a little bit of everything, but it feels a bit. Well, it feels different from any other like maker events, good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think all maker events that I know of, at least, all have their own spin of what it is to be a maker event.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think any of them can touch all bases, so to say. So it's what you like.
I'm wondering, are we makers that happen to do YouTube, or are we YouTubers that just use
Happens to be
making as you need to have content to be a content creator, but
Chicken and an egg scenario. Yeah. Do you make the videos because you're a maker, or do you what came first, the making or the videos?
Because I thought about that a little bit on the plane ride home this week, because I lent my phone to my daughter so she was watching cartoons, and then I was just sketching on my sketchpad. And then I flipped it around and I started thinking about the script for the next build, because I got got a bit of inspiration of the box cart video. Like, all right, I need a story here, and I got a couple of hours with nothing to distract me, so I could just start writing down something. And I'm seeing the contours of a story that can go with basically basically building a new box sorting arrangement thingamabob. But I really enjoy that part actually. I mean, I might run out of oomph, but I think I'm going to try to write a story first before I start to film, because it makes it easier if you know at least halfway what kind of narrative you want to do. You know that, all right, I have to film this and I have to get a b-roll of this, and you're still building the project from start to finish, but you know what you should emphasize on, and it helps not having to film everything because you don't know the story yet, so you need all the footage, so you have all the possibilities of cutting it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between some. Well, that's the difference between all videos, really, isn't it? There's the instructional video, and then there's the story video. Now, instructional videos you want to watch, but you're desperately I want to know how to do this thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes the two get rather conflated, and you end up going, look, I don't want to know your life story up to the point where you put the screw in this place. I just need to know where to put the screw. And then there's the storytelling things of everything hangs on the why. You know, if you can sell the why, then everything else will fall into place, hopefully.
Yeah.
Now, why does this thing need to exist? You know, I could make a sleeve for my e-reader, sure, and it'd be a very bland video of me, yeah, trying to use a sewing machine. But there needs to be a why, and there is a why. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to watch the video.
Yeah, but I mean,
But what is a sleeve? Well, it's a difference between white trash and Wall Street, isn't it? So there's a story there for sure.
yeah, and then there's all that thing with story of forcing some kind of story and just talking rubbish, which just distracts from the actual video. I mean, that's the kind of thing that I notice my kids watching sometimes when there's some person talking about God knows what, and at the same time there's a upsped video about someone doing pottery or painting something that has absolutely nothing to do with the person talking. So
Yeah.
it's like the split screen. So one part is just talking head, and another part is something interesting happening. It feels totally disconnected. That's how I feel about all those just talking about the mental well-being or what it is while they're making a table. It is rather absurd, really.
Because that's there is a fine line there. I really do like I call them the storytellers, and if you can have a good story that also relates to what you're building, at least to a certain degree, then that can be a match made in heaven. But then there are examples like I just when I got inspired by Tom Sachs, and of course he had at least one of the Neistat brothers as an apprentice at some point, and those two brothers are making story-based videos, and they're also makers, but sometimes I feel they just have a story of life advice and whatnot that they might not have lived themselves. They've just come up with this sounds good, and then they have to do some making. So it feels a bit like that split screen. I have this mumbo jumbo life story I would like to push down your throat, and I need that second part of the screen with some making stuff. And sometimes they match up, so it is a good video, but there is too many of them that they don't resonate with me. So like, I don't need to know this about you. I just want to see how you put that screw into that thing. But they never get to that. And then right up until that moment, all right, now I'm going to see how they're oh, it's now completed because they have now reached the end of their story. So they just jumped two
Jump cut
weeks
to the
in
end.
the, yeah. So God damn it.
Yeah, I don't want either the instructional videos or the whatever life story. Feels like you're being sold a pyramid scheme. I just want inspirational videos. Look at this cool thing I made. Here's how I made it. I don't want. I don't need to know every screw going in. I don't need to see every cut. I just want a general see how it's done so I can be inspired by it. And I don't want to hear your entire life story. Some makers I follow, I'm interested in their life story, but not all of them.
You should probably skip my next video then.
I was going to say, I'm going to apologize in advance for my next box video.
Don't I really know your life stories by this point?
Don't worry. You not watching it won't affect the numbers. Nobody else will watch it either.
Zero minus zero is still zero. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. I keep looking at I shouldn't do it because it's just ridiculous. I check in on the old YouTube Studio app once a day, twice a day, 70 times a day.
That's not good.
No, it's not that much. But yeah, I am teasingly close to the 5,000 now. I'm at 4,989. Come on. It's 11 more people. 11 more people. Give up your soul.
So if you're not subscribed to Phil's channel, please go and give him a subscribe. If you have another person in your home with a Google account, use that as well.
Or just open a few more. They're free.
I mean, you have the possibility around to buy, and today it's just bots anyway. So you can buy subscribers, but you'll lose them again once YouTube is on to. Those are bots, and they're get removed in the next cleansing. But I thought here the other day, I don't watch the news. But my guilty pleasure is I come from a small. It's not even a city. It's a small, collection of houses. But they have a local newspaper, and sometimes I go in there, just read the headlines, just like what's going on in my old stomping grounds. And then, of course, everything is now behind a paywall if you want to read anything other than the headlines. So I thought just to keep up with what's happening back home, should I just pay for it? And then I haven't been living there for God knows how many years, so I really don't know many people there anymore. But I'm still from there, so then I thought, should I just put an ad or two into the newspaper instead of paying for boosting? I never done that, but you have the ability to pay to boost your videos, and then you can choose, do you want more views, do you want more subscribers, and then they push it to people who are more likely to subscribe to you. And then should I use that in a local newspaper, and how much would that cost? Like, how many hundreds of pounds do I need for a full side in that weekly newspaper? Like, just my logo and just like, subscribe please. And how many people would do just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Local hero.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it would not make 11 people. I don't think so. It wouldn't help you there, Phil. So
Oh well.
But maybe you have a local Bristol newspaper. Could you run an ad there?
Used to. Over here, pretty much all local journalism has been bought out by Reach PLC, which is a excuse me, a news organization which also owns such terrible rags as the Daily Mail and the Evening Standard. Um, it's Murdoch's
Mm.
group that has basically bought the entirety of local journalism. So the Bristol Post, as it used to be, or the Bristol Evening Post, because it was an evening newspaper, it used to be, once upon a time, very well regarded for its independent journalism. And a lot of big names in British journalism started at the Evening Post. But about 15 years ago, I suppose, uh, as the internet was taking over and circulation numbers of physical newspapers were dropping like flies, Reach PLC comes in, buys up the Evening Post, and now there's a skeleton crew of people who basically trawl Facebook and Reddit and regurgitate what's going on in the city as news. So yeah, the actual local newspaper so much doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's
But
kind of the same here.
I
I
think
think
it's
it's the same
this.
everywhere.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. There's one thing I just dropped into my head. In Norway, we had for many years, and we might still do, but I need to check that up in a half. But we have a television program on the Norwegian Broadcasting Channel that's called. It's translated to Around Norway, and it is a program. It was every once in a week, and they had a crew of journalists that, with a cameraman, just traveled around and interviewed people who had odd hobbies or have done something great or something weird. So every episode it was an hour long, and it was like maybe 3 or 4 different segments, and it could be the guy who had Norway's biggest collection of Bic pens. And then you could have a guy that has produced the largest strawberry ever recorded. And at some point, I said that you're not weird enough before you have been on that show. And at some point, someone said it's just a matter of time before you have a segment there, because
You're
it
still
is.
waiting.
Yeah, it's the local news, but on a national level and in video form. Um, but I'm not sure if that exists anymore. But it ran for at least 20, 30 years straight with like people tuning in every Friday to see that. So no.
Yeah, I try to avoid watching the news where possible, but well, it is quite used to like doing before they took it off Freeview, or maybe it is back on Freeview. I mean, I don't really watch TV at all anymore, but I used to quite enjoy watching Euronews, because on that channel you get to see a lot of news which just plain straight out is not reported here whatsoever.
Yeah.
And even then, when they report stuff that's happening here and you've seen it on the news here, how they report it and the perspective of that is so wildly different.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
The problem is I could do the same, but then I would have to watch the news here to be able to compare. But of
Yeah.
course, we were sitting in a hotel room in France, and of course, the 6 year old is so fascinated that all hotel rooms they have TVs that you can watch from the bed. I mean, that's a 6 year old dream, right? And so
Yeah.
like, we can just lay in bed and eat candy and watch TV. So we scrolled through the channels to see if we found anything that wasn't in French and was like cartoons or whatever, but nothing was on. So the only thing I ended up with was BBC News and some Euronews channel that just like had broader, and like there were segments from Al Jazeera and all these news outlets around the world. And then I saw news there about Norway. Like, oh, did we do that? I'm pretty sure that it is not as dominant in the Norwegian media, and at least they would have spun it differently. So yeah, it is fun that you're living in your bubble, and if you're watching the Norwegian broadcasting channel, whether it being TV or radio, you're being fed a screened version of the world news.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get an objective view on everything in the world. I mean, you don't have time to go through all of it, but it's but that's the same with the YouTube algorithm. I got pissed off here the other day, so I just went in and you can go. I think it is in the app. If you go into settings and data handling, you can click a link, and then they will take you to Google setup somewhere. But you can delete your watch history, and it was almost like a freeing, like a relief when I went on to YouTube. After that, it had no videos to show. It was just black because it just said you need to start watching some videos and search something so we know how to compile. So of course they still know what you have done. They have all your history and whatnot, but at least it gives you an like a feeling of a reset. So you get some newer videos, but it really starts to pick up because they still know which channels you are subscribed to. So they very quickly fall back into showing you those, and people who like this also like this. So you're very much back into. But for a few hours, it felt kind of fresh.
So the big question is, did you start with my videos or Phil's videos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the narcissist I am, I started with my own, but it did not generate anything. So there is they still know that it was me watching my own videos. So yeah,
Those views don't count.
yeah.
That's like, you know, paying yourself pocket money for the ad revenue.
Is that like smelling your own farts, watching your own videos?
Maybe.
But that being said, though, I own several domains with unlimited email accounts. So if I write a script, because doing it manually take too much time, but I could probably set up a lot of users. But the problem is when I need a server to actually view and play the videos, and that takes bandwidth. And even if I watch my videos on the lowest resolution, and it's yeah, it's still it needs a lot of infrastructure and work just to get a few hundred views. So yeah.
Yeah, you could set up various boxes or Docker instances or, you know, virtual machines. Oh, script running. I mean, I don't know how it works. Does it actually rely on duration watched? Yes, I suppose it does. Or does it just need that link being hit to count as a view?
I think you need to watch for a few seconds before it counts as a view, and then of course you have the impressions click through rate, how fast you jump onto the next video, and of course on the channel dashboard in the studio, then it also have average view duration. So viewing time also counts.
So you couldn't have a bot just constantly hitting various of your videos.
No, and they probably would see that comes from the same place with regular intervals. Then again, you would probably be better off. You could probably rent server time on one of those bot farms in China where they have like 1 million phones connected by wire to a huge server rack. So they're actually separate phones connected. So they look like individuals that are actually watching and streaming. So you can buy watch time that way. But then again, it feels wrong.
I was going to say, there's a revolutionary idea of just make good videos and people will find them and watch them.
Yeah.
Will they?
It's fun though.
Maybe you've got to believe.
People will spend more energy in circumnavigating a problem than actually just spending that energy and in fact just solve the problem.
I mean, building that bot farm, that is a good video.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to get 1 million views in 10 minutes.
And that video will do good just because of that. And
Exactly.
So yeah.
It's like the fellow who wrote a book, How to Make £1 Million. First off, write a book called How to Make £1 Million.
Yeah. And sell 50,000 copies of said book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a scam going a long time ago. Someone put an ad, like actually paid for an ad in one of the various motoring magazines of, I will give you the secrets of getting out of any road related bind. Got a speeding fine, I've got the answer. Got a parking ticket, I've got the answer. Been pulled up on something, I've got the answer. Just send me £10 to this address. And what he would do is he would send you a copy of the highway code and a little note saying, read this, follow it to the letter, and you'll be all right.
Yeah. But I mean, that is correct. That's not even a scam. That is just...
It's a bit of a scam, but it's not a scam because it's perfectly legal. It's just playing on people's fears of, I can get out of anything. So like, just don't do it.
That got me thinking though. I mean, if you made a video about making that bot farm, it doesn't even need to work because it is the video who is the generating of views. So, and people won't realize that we just watched a video and the actual solution was the video we just watched, not the thing that you actually built. So that it's a bit like you would call it meta, but then again, that's now a company with questionable morals. So yeah.
Well, it is a video with questionable morals as well, so I think
yeah, I'm all about
double down on the
morals,
questionable morals. So make a video about making a bot, but then actually all it is you vibe coding with an AI, and you're just writing a prompt of make me a bot which does this.
Yeah.
It's really, really low effort, but massively rewarding.
But you had a lot of these scams in the late 90s when text messaging was still a thing. So you could put an ad into magazines or online for that matter, where if you needed the answer or a solution to something, just send this code word to this phone number. It will cost you like £1. And of course, it wasn't, the amount was so small that when people see that this was just bullshit, they just lost £1. But if 1,000 people just like, this sounds too good to be true, but for £1, I'll give it a try, then people made £1,000. So of course, and then you could, like for this, like deliver the highway code, and nobody could pin you for it because you have actually delivered what you said. It's just that it was not what people thought they were getting, but that's on them. But these paid text messages, and they're not a thing anymore. So that's not a viable revenue either.
I don't think scams are our thing. Or is this podcast just a scam?
Exactly. None of us have ever actually made anything. It's all AI.
I mean, is it a scam if you're not making money off of it? Can you do a scam?
If you're bad at the scam, is it legal?
Can you do a scam pro bono? If we do it for free.
If this scam is actually costing me, God knows, I don't want to know how much money this is costing me every year.
But I love it.
But I just love the smell of oil-based finishes. So that's why I do it.
I mean, I've seen a lot of videos where people are pranking or catching or shutting down these Indian call centers, but I mean, setting up a call center like seems like kind of fun, but could you set it up like a scam call center, but it is basically just legal? Would
Isn't that
that
just a help desk?
yeah, that being said, though, when I send an email or register a case on help desk, sometimes it got a bit of a scammy vibe. It feels like is is this just relayed to a call center in India? It's, yeah.
As someone who sits on a help desk, I can definitely tell you that some things are high priority, some things are medium priority, and some things are basically very politely just binned off.
I um I registered a help desk case last week, I think, because I wanted to. Of course, as a proper corporate company, we now do everything in SharePoint. Everything is stored in SharePoint,
Ugh.
and people are making folders and subfolders and files and duplicates and just sending emails with links and what it is. It is a beehive, and I figured out, and it is a lot of going down into the settings and subsettings and whatnot. But I could actually get a generated list that I could export to Excel that shows from top level all the folders and then the subfolders and all the folder structure. But I also want the files in the um, the same structure, and there is no function for that in SharePoint as of today. They can just give you the folder structure. But then I realized someone has probably made a script for Chrome or whatever to just run through everything and just log it in an Excel file or something like that. So, and lo and behold, found that online. But I thought I'm going to be a nice boy, so I sent an email to help desk. I would like to do this. I know there are scripts for this, but I know that it is frowned upon to get admin access and start adding scripts to do things on your corporate computer. But do you have a script that you have used that you can approve for this? And then I got a reply, and I got stunned. I did not expect this, but someone replied that yes, we actually have a script for that. It's a couple of years old, so and nobody has really used it actively, so we're not sure how effective it will be. But would you like to try it? Sure, I can try it. And then I got a resolution to my case, and it was just page after page after page with code. I'm like, all right, is this for Edge or is it for Chrome or what is it? Because they just assumed that I probably just knew by looking at the code because I asked the question that nobody else asked, but I have no clue what to do with this code, where to paste it, how to run it. But now I'm too afraid to ask them because then oh, we thought you were smart because and no, you're just a dummy. Yes, I'm a dummy. How do you make this work?
Yeah,
But
I don't want to compile my own code. I'm not just send me the bash file, please,
yeah,
or the executable, depending on your
that
platform
being
of choice.
that being said, though, I haven't seen an executable in a long time. I mean, it's so automated in Windows. So even if you download, I mean, you have to go in settings to unhide file name extensions. So at some point I did do that, but now I don't care anymore because I don't make batch files or compile execution files anymore. It's not fun. It's not my hobby anymore. I bought tools. I build stuff now. I don't I don't ruin my computer for fun and having to reinstall Windows twice every quarter to factory settings. No.
Now, back in the day, if there was a spare computer going, I would probably have it just to take it apart and tinker with it and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And now, it's just like someone said, "Oh, we're disposing of these old computers. Do you want them to tinker with?" I said, "No, send them to recycling."
Yeah.
Did you not want them? I said, "No, no."
I'll take the power cables though, because you can't have enough of that. I think I have 4 or 5 boxes of the computer power cables, but every time I see one, oh, you're coming home with me.
Well, yeah, because the switches that we buy at work have got these really, really high quality, very flexible, rubberized, like IEC connector cables on them.
Oh, yeah.
And one of those now runs my planar thicknesser.
Of course it does.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've done that now. So last time I ordered something from AliExpress, I just, for the hell of it, I ordered some of these flush mount sockets for those cables, because whenever I build a project, then I can just use those because I have all those cables, and they're nice. They're grounded, perfect size, and that plug is actually, it's good. I mean, it's not like the whimsical kinds that can fall out from themselves. So it's a good design for a plug and a socket. So yeah. But
Now, at one
it's,
point,
Yeah.
sorry, carry on.
no, it's at some point I was like you. I mean, I would tinker with them until they broke or I got bored of them, and then I desoldered components as well. Like I might need this capacitor, I might need this connector, this switch. Oh, LED. No, you for like 10p you can buy a million of them in an assortment box. So I don't desolder components anymore. That's straight to the bin.
When I was
Living the
having a
luxury life.
clear out of the garage, I found the box of PowerCon connectors. At one point, I was going to cut all the 3-pin plugs off of all my power tools and put PowerCon connectors on them.
Mm,
So a bit like Festool.
yeah.
You just have one cable. I was going to suspend it from the ceiling on like a bendy arm. And anything you need to plug in, you just grab the tool, connect the power, and then twist to disconnect. And I must have spent about 80 quid on these PowerCon connectors. And I never did it. I mean, I still could, but
Will you?
probably not.
It's a good idea, and I think I at some point had the same idea about things having different connectors, so I could just make them universal. But somewhere along the line, all my power tools became battery operated, so the cable issue isn't much of an issue anymore.
Yeah, if it's not permanently connected, it's the only thing that gets plugged in is probably the palm router or what you call it, random orbit sounder.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I have, and
I'll just plug
this
it in.
is, I think it is. Is it a skill saw brand? But it is a drill, power drill, with a cable that it was left behind in this house when we bought it, and it's the decent kind. It's old gray plastic. It's like old school cable powered drill, and I use it for mixing concrete whenever I'm doing that outside. So I bought one of these whiskers or whatever they're called to put in. And I've never disconnected that because that's the only thing I'm using it for. And it has one of those side handles as well because it actually have decent amount of torque, so it doesn't burn up when you're mixing concrete. And I don't want to use my battery drills for that, because when you're mixing concrete, it sprays a bit, and then you get concrete dusts or
Yeah.
droplets on your tools, and you can't really clean it without, yeah. But what it's on my not bucket list, but wish list, that is an extension cord of decent material. So because the ones that I have now, they are very cheap, but that means that if it is below 20 degrees outside, they are also kind of stiff, so they're hard to coil up. And it's the same with my compressor. It has like, it's the first hose for air I bought many years ago, and it's not as flexible as some of them. So yeah, there are kinks in it and whatnot. And I would like to get one of those hose reels that you just put on the wall. You can just pull it out, and when you're done, you can reel it back. So I want that for my air system, and I want that for my extension cord, because everything I do in the yard, I have to plug the extension cord into my workshop anyway. So why don't you have like a 35-meter like roll on the wall? They cost money, so, and I'm greedy, and I
Yeah.
have the old cables and they still work. So
Yeah.
And one day you'll be using some electrical tool outside, and you'll manage to cut that cable halfway along.
I already done that, but I have heat shrink tubing and soldering irons. That is no problem. So at least one of those have been spliced several times.
It's fine.
But now it's one of them are also outside in the winter and in the sun, because it's powering the garden house, whatever. So of course it's not made to be out in the sunrise rays for extended periods of time. So now it's kind of brittlish as well. So one of them needs replacing. I might thinking about burying it, but yeah, might be next year.
No rush. It'll be fine.
So then the question is, do we hassle the listeners with more box talk in this main episode, or do we switch to the half pint for some more boxy content?
I was just going to say, we've been going for like an hour and 20 minutes. It's probably about time for a half pint.
If we're not already in it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, whoever's editing this week has the benefit of knowing that this is the word half pint.
Yeah.
This is where they should probably cut.
Yeah. I mean, the question is how much of the rants in the beginning are actually left in. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe this is a 20-minute episode.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, because we don't want to lose all those... we don't want to lose the French connection in this podcast. So
don't start again.
We get
All
it.
right.
You went to France. You didn't like them.
Half pint.
What did Mickey Mouse do to you?
Why does he wear those gloves? It's disturbing.
Those big googly eyes. He's hiding something behind that smile, isn't he?
Yeah, fishy business there.
Yeah, we don't want Disney after us either. So, yeah, thanks for listening to this episode, and have a nice whatever you're having.
Yeah, see you in a half pint.
Bye.
Bye.